In the fading neon light of an old Queen's bar, Lucian Moretti sits in his corner booth, his presence as undeniable as the burn of bourbon on the back of his tongue. He cuts an imposing figure, dark tailored suit, sharp jaw, eyes that have seen more than they'll ever reveal. It's late, and regulars drift between the jukebox and the door, but Lucian watches the street outside. Here, he's always on alert. That's the cost of being a boss. Avery slips in, unnoticed at first. Just a little girl, not even 9, oversized raincoat and worn sneakers, holding a battered stuffed rabbit at her side. She walks straight to Lucian's table with a quiet assurance, stands there, head tipped back to meet his gaze. "Hello, sir," she says, voice steady. "My mother has a tattoo exactly like yours." Lucian's world stops. For years he's shielded that mark, a small, intricate rose just over his collarbone. It's not the tattoo itself, but what it means. Loyalty, secrecy, a past tied to decisions he can't undo. Only a handful have it, only those who meant something to him. He narrows his eyes, studying the girl. "What's your mother's name?" Avery shrugs. "My mom says you have to be careful with names, but she told me to look for the rose." She turns, exposing the faded outline of the same rose on her own shoulder. "She said if I ever got lost, someone with this would help me." Lucian waves over his driver, who nods and stands by. The bar grows quieter, the kind of silence that comes before something changes. Lucian leans forward, keeping his voice gentle but firm. "And where is your mother?" Avery glances at the door, as if she expects her mother to appear. I don't know. She told me to wait if she didn't come back." Lucian's fingers tighten around his glass. Every instinct tells him this is trouble. You don't cross the families, not in this world. Yet there's something in Avery's eyes, fearless, hopeful. It unsettles him as nothing else can. He signals for his closest advisor and speaks quietly. "Find out everything about this girl's mother." Quietly. As Avery waits, she swings her stuffed rabbit, tapping her shoe against the bar stool. Lucian finally breaks the silence. "You're safe here. What's your name?" "Avery," she says. Lucian nods. For now, the questions can wait. He gestures for the bartender to bring Avery something to eat, and as the plate arrives, he studies the little girl with the rose tattoo, a reminder that in his world, the smallest things can cut deepest. Lucian spends the rest of the night watching Avery quietly eat, his mind twisting through memories and possibilities. Outside, the city hums, a backdrop that never sleeps. Inside, questions churn. Avery's calm makes him uneasy. Few adults speak to Lucian with such candor, let alone a child. He calls Marco, his trusted advisor. "Any leads?" Lucian asks quietly, away from Avery's ears. "Nothing yet, boss," Marco replies. "But we did find a Jane Doe matching her description near Midtown a few days back. No ID, but the tattoo is the same." Lucian's jaw tightens. Memories sink in. Years ago, there was a woman, Isabel, whose loyalty carved her place in the organization. She disappeared after a bitter dispute with the family, taking secrets with her. He never expected to see anything from her world again. Avery glances up. "Will you help me find my mom?" Lucian nods, then softens his posture. "Yes, but you have to stay close and listen. This city is dangerous. Do you understand?" Avery's look is steel. "I understand." They move. Lucian's men drive them to Lucian's apartment, a top-floor view of Manhattan's pulsing lights, but with security cameras at each entrance. Avery walks slowly, examining the rooms, clutching her rabbit as though it holds the answers. Marco returns, holding a faded photograph. "Boss," he says, "this is her, right?" Lucian studies it. A younger Isabel, smiling, that rose tattoo clear on her shoulder, her eyes bright but haunted. Lucian kneels beside Avery. "Was your mother's name Isabel?" Avery hesitates, lips trembling. "She told me her real name is dangerous to share. She said if anyone asked, I should say Amy." Lucian realizes the truth is buried deeper than he thought. "Did she say who might come looking for her?" Avery shakes her head. "She said some people would pretend to help, but not to trust them. Only the rose means safety." For the first time, Lucian sees the vulnerability beneath Avery's bravery. He remembers what Isabel taught him about survival: trust little, reveal less. Now that lesson becomes his own responsibility. Keep Avery safe, no matter the cost. Night falls. Avery draws close, watching the city. Lucian promises, quietly, that they'll uncover the truth. But every promise carries risk. On these streets, every secret is a weapon. It is deep in the night, when the city outside Lucian's window seems to dissolve into a haze of rain and neon. Avery remains curled up in a heavy chair, her stuffed rabbit pressed beneath her chin. Lucian tries not to watch too closely. When a child cries for her mother, it does not fit the world he knows. His world demands silence and survival. Tears are left behind in childhood, wiped away by necessity and threat. He pours himself another drink, but leaves the decanter untouched after. Reminders of Isabel churn in his memory. Her laughter in crowded rooms, the way she always seemed to sense danger before anyone said a word, the night she disappeared with a promise never to draw the family's fire. She made mistakes, but she never betrayed them, as far as he knew. But now, her daughter is in his living room, and everything is tangled. Avery's breathing is soft, nearly asleep when her head jerks up. She stares at Lucian. "Do you think my mom meant to leave me?" Her voice quivers, but her gaze is not that of a child asking for comfort. She asks as if she suspects she is owed only the truth. Lucian chooses his words carefully. "No, I think your mother is in trouble. I think she wanted to protect you." Avery frowns, biting her lips. "She always said not to trust anyone. She didn't even trust the police." She shifts, curling her feet beneath her. "I heard her on the phone. Someone wanted something from her and she was scared." Lucian leans closer. "Did you hear anything she said? Anything about what they wanted or who they were?" Avery nods after a moment, voice barely above a whisper. "She said she had proof. About something that happened a long time ago. To you, maybe, or to someone else. She didn't want anyone to get hurt." Lucian feels the hairs on his neck rise. There had been a night, years back, when a double-cross split their organization. Secrets disappeared with Isabel. The few who survived kept silent, either from loyalty or fear. Proof could mean anything: a name, a photograph, or a betrayal he never realized. He stands, moving to the window. The rain has slowed, leaving the city shining, washed out beneath streetlights. He thinks about every man and woman who ever tried to run from old business. None of them rested long. But Avery changes the topic, her mind darting from fear to curiosity. "Why do you have the same tattoo as my mom?" Lucian hesitates. "It's a promise. In my life, it means you protect those who carry it, no matter the cost. Even if it's hard. Especially if it's hard." She looks at him for a long moment. In her silence, Lucian feels the weight of responsibility shifting. This girl is not a message from the past, but a demand from the present. Whatever Isabel risked, whatever secrets she carried, Lucian now carries a promise written in ink. By morning, Lucian's apartment is busy with activity. Marco brings coffee and hands Lucian a report. "We traced Isabel's steps. She was meeting someone at the river docks last night. Her phone last pinged near Pier 47, but she never made it home." Lucian considers the information. Any word from our contacts? Marco shakes his head. It's quiet. Too quiet. Some of the old crew are asking questions, but nobody's willing to talk about Isabel. That means they're afraid, or someone's cleaning up. Avery follows the conversation, silent but attentive. Lucian turns to her. Did your mother ever talk about a place she went when she was scared? Avery is quiet, then nods. A boat. She took me there once. Said it was safe because it moves, but she never sailed it far. She let me sleep below sometimes when we couldn't go home. Marco looks up. We can check every boat registered in her name, or any aliases she used. If she ran, she would go there. Lucian nods. Do it, and make sure nobody follows you. The hours pass with tension growing in the small apartment. Lucian barely speaks, drifting between rooms, phone pressed to his ear. Avery draws pictures on the coffee table, all in silence. Boats, roses, and a woman's face half hidden in shadow. Late in the afternoon, Marco returns, breathless. Found the boat. The marina manager says someone matching Isabel's description rented it last night, but she never checked out. There was a commotion after dark, and now the boat's drifting in its slip. No sign of anyone on board. Lucian's pulse quickens. In his world, commotion means danger, and silence after means something worse. He stands, grabs his jacket and looks at Avery. We're going to the marina. You stay close to me the entire time. Understand? Avery nods. She is scared, but there's trust in her eyes now. Trust that he will not leave her behind. The city flash passes as they make their way through traffic. Lucian's car weaving through the streets of Manhattan and over to the docks. The air smells of diesel and salt. Gulls swoop low, crying. Marco leads them along the floats until finally they spot the small boat rocking in its slip, ropes loose. Lucian steps aboard first. The deck is a mess, papers scattered, a cup shattered by the ladder. Avery's eyes dart around, searching for hope. There is none here. Lucian checks below deck. A faint scent of blood and perfume lingers. He finds a scarf with roses printed on it. Isabel's. Avery's fingers clutch at the fabric, and Lucian gently pries it from her hand. Wait here. Don't touch anything, Lucian says, voice sharp but not unkind. He finds something else, a phone hidden under a loose board. Plugging it into his own charger, he waits. The screen flickers, messages appear, threats, warnings, a photo of Lucian himself from years earlier. Avery's mother kept records. Marco bends close. This is bad, boss. Whoever took Isabel wanted these files. She must have hidden the phone before they got to her. Avery hears every word. She wipes her cheeks and stands beside Lucian. They took her because of what she knew. Lucian does not lie. Yes, but we'll find her. You have my word. For the first time since she entered his life, Avery lets herself hope. As night falls, Lucian realizes their time is running out. Whoever is cleaning up after old secrets is close, dangerously so. The world grows sharper, smaller, the hunt closing in. He meets Marco outside. Get Avery to safety. I will meet you at the safe house. I have to finish this. His voice has the steely edge of old loyalty, cut with the ache of something almost like grief. Avery stands at the end of the dock, watching the city lights reflected in the water. Will I see my mom again? Lucian cannot promise what he does not know. All he can offer her is what his tattoo promised Isabel long ago. You're not alone. The city looks different now, its promise and peril mixed in equal measure. Secrets press in from every shadow, but somewhere Lucian believes there are answers. And if finding them means risking everything, so be it. The city wakes from its restless night in a hush that is felt more in Lucian's bones than on the streets themselves. Manhattan's high-rises blink against the slow grey sunrise, and rain pools in the cracks of the pavement where, only hours ago, Lucian took Avery away from the marina. In this lull, when anticipation replaces action, Lucian feels the weight of every decision, every unspoken word, pressing against his chest. Avery sleeps in one of his spare rooms, her stuffed rabbit clasped in a white-knuckled grip, her face a portrait of exhaustion. She has barely spoken since Lucian promised to find her mother, though her silence is not empty. It's a container for hopes, fears, questions she doesn't know how to ask. Marco stands watch outside, shifting his weight from foot to foot, coffee cooling in his hand. There's a sense in the air, something unfinished, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Lucian sits at the kitchen table, phone in reach, sifting methodically through the files Isabel hid on the battered device he recovered from her boat. Each folder unlocks fragments, coded messages, receipts, photographs taken at odd angles, in places Lucian recognizes only vaguely. There are faces here he remembers from better days, men and women who sat at his table, who drank to old loyalties and whispered new betrayals. There are numbers and dates, patterns Lucian deciphers for meaning. And there, towards the end, a video file labeled simply, "For Avery." He hesitates, oaths of protection circling in his head, a promise never to burden a child with history too heavy for her hands. But this is not a world where innocence is granted. This is a world where survival requires the truth. Avery wakes just as Lucian finishes unraveling the first threads of the evidence. The apartment is quiet, but not gentle. Every sound carries the weight of expectation. She walks into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. For a moment, she looks tiny against the expanse of Lucian's world, a child in oversized pajamas, only a breath removed from danger. Lucian crouches, meeting her at eye level. "You ready to try and figure out what happened?" he asks. He's careful, measured. Avery nods. He sets the phone on the table, pressing play. The screen flickers, the image shaky. A woman with hair pulled back, her face drawn, her eyes tired but sharp. It is Isabel. "Avery," the woman says, voice trembling but determined, "if you're seeing this, it means something went wrong. I want you to remember, I love you. I did everything I could to keep you safe. The truth is, there are people who will hurt anyone to protect themselves. I had to run, but I left something for you. The rose. Trust the man with it. He owes me, and he's strong enough not to break." Lucian feels shame flush his cheeks as Avery leans closer, eyes wide, absorbing every word. Isabel continues. "You need to take what I've left and show it to people who care about justice, not just power. Don't let them bury me, and don't let them bury the truth. If you're with Lucian, tell him I forgive everything." The video ends with a sob, the camera tilting away, and Avery's grip on the table loosens. She stares at the blank screen. Lucian lays a hand gently on her shoulder. "Your mum. She was braver than any of us," he says, voice raw. Avery presses her lips together, fighting tears, then squares her shoulders. "Can you take me to the police?" Lucian hesitates. For years, the police have been as tangled in his business as the criminals, some bought, some threatened, some just indifferent. But Avery deserves more than old fears, and Isabel's final plea is not for secrecy, it is for justice. "Not just any police," Lucian says, "but someone who's never taken a bribe, someone who still cares about the truth. You know someone." Lucian nods slowly. There is one detective, Ana Ramirez, who never accepted Lucian's money, who built her career by refusing dirty cases, who, by some miracle, still believes in the law. He calls her, and after a tense conversation, she agrees to meet at a quiet cafe in Brooklyn, away from the ordinary circles of power and danger. Avery and Lucian leave the apartment, Marco trailing behind, eyes trained on every passerby. The city is alive now, crowds oblivious to the drama unfolding in the lives of three unlikely companions. Avery clings to Lucian's hand, her confidence grown by hardship, her fear kept at bay by the gentle squeeze of his fingers. At the cafe, Ana Ramirez waits, coat buttoned against the lingering chill. She is tall, brisk, her eyes sharp but kind. Avery sits beside Lucian, placing the stuffed rabbit on the table as a silent declaration of trust. Lucian slides the phone across. The missing woman is Isabel Granger. She's Avery's mother. She disappeared 2 nights ago. There's evidence here. People want it buried. Ramirez listens intently, watching Avery's face for signs of distress. She plays the video, then reviews files, making careful notes. "This is enough for a warrant," she says quietly. "But Isabel, any idea who took her?" Lucian shakes his head. "She was meeting someone at Pier 47. The boat was left behind. Blood, a scarf, no body." Ramirez nods, her expression hardening. "We'll need to move fast. If Isabel is still alive, there's a window before her trail is gone." Avery stares at Ramirez. "Will you help us?" Ramirez pauses. In police work, trust is currency, rare, fragile, easily spent. But Avery's question is not about procedure. It is about hope. "I promise," Ramirez says, "I won't stop until your mother is found." The investigation is relentless. Ramirez mobilizes her team, discreetly pulling records from the marina, interrogating witnesses, ignoring warnings from higher-ups to drop the case. Lucian watches the system grind to life, a process he spent years avoiding, manipulating, fearing. Avery is moved to a police safe house, a small, nondescript apartment surrounded by plainclothes officers, the kind who blend into the city's background. She misses her mother, but finds comfort in small things: coloring books, television, the sound of Lucian's voice when he calls to check in every hour. Lucian works the other end of the puzzle, pressing old contacts, leveraging favors, asking questions he knows will draw the wrong eyes. The organization is uneasy. Rumors of the girl with the rose circulating, whispers that Isabel's secrets are bigger than anyone realized. Fear creeps into the corners, and Lucian senses that someone powerful is desperate to keep those secrets hidden. Marco returns from a meeting with bad news. "They know, boss. Prices are up for anyone who talks. Someone is cleaning house. I heard they moved Isabel out to a warehouse on the river, North End." Lucian makes a decision, one he hopes will save Avery's mother, regardless of the personal cost. He calls Ramirez. They have Isabel, the river warehouse. Tonight's the only chance. Ramirez agrees to coordinate a full operation, but she warns Lucian to stay clear. "Your name brings trouble, Lucian. This is for cops, not criminals." Lucian defies her. Old loyalty and guilt guiding him more than caution. He insists on joining, and Ramirez reluctantly allows him to shadow the raid. His presence sanctioned under silent threat. Hours later, darkness falls over the river. Police cars, lights off, spread across the street approach. Ramirez signals her officers, and they move like shadows, quiet, precise. Lucian and Marco circle to the rear, hearts pounding, adrenaline singing in their ears. From the warehouse, muffled voices drift. Lucian recognizes 2 men, old business partners, now adversaries, faces marked by years spent surviving on fear and money. They stand guard at an iron door. Ramirez's team breaches the entrance in a coordinated wave, shouts and flashes of light, filling the silence. Through a chaos of movement, Lucian slips past fallen bodies, searching for Isabel. He finds her, hands bound, blood dried at her temple, eyes defiant even through exhaustion. Lucian steps forward, calling her name. She startles, then slumps, relief softening her features. He unties her, supports her weight as she stumbles. Ramirez enters, weapon raised, shouting for backup. A gunshot echoes, sharp and final. One of the guards falls, the other runs. Police secure the scene, cuffing the men responsible, isolating the evidence. Isabel clings to Lucian, her voice a murmur. "You kept her safe." "Avery?" He nods, helping her from the room. "She's waiting for you. She's safe." Ramirez approaches, voice gentle. "You're lucky to be alive. You'll need to testify. We'll make sure you're protected." Isabel glances at Lucian, eyes full of history, the pain, the betrayals, the impossible longing for peace. "I'm ready," she says, "but only if Avery is safe. Only if this ends." Days pass in a blur. Isabel is treated at the hospital, guarded by police. Meetings stretch on, depositions recounting old secrets, preparing a case against the men who tried to erase her. The organization crumbles, its weakest links breaking under pressure, its strongest forced to flee into hiding. Lucian is summoned for questioning. Ramirez is fair but firm. "Why did you help?" He shrugs. The truth is not simple. Because some debts have to be paid. Because Avery's mother risked everything for the right reasons. Ramirez studies him. "You could have left, you didn't." Lucian's answer is a glance at the rose tattoo. "You protect those who carry it. That's the promise." Avery is reunited with Isabel in a stunningly quiet moment. No applause, no dramatic music, just a hug so tight it seems neither mother nor daughter will ever let go. Lucian stands a few feet away, Marco at his shoulder, both men watching the scene with the dispassion that comes from too many years spent witnessing loss. Isabel kneels before Avery, brushing hair aside, whispering apologies and promises. Avery listens, wide-eyed, then lays her rabbit in Isabel's lap. "I never gave up," she says. "I know," Isabel replies, tears falling freely. "You're braver than I ever was." The police offer protection, witness programs, new lives in quieter places where the threat can fade. Isabel agrees, knowing this is the only way for her and Avery to have peace. Lucian meets them at the door, at once an outsider and an anchor. Isabel thanks him, voice trembling. "If not for you—" He stops her. "It was Avery. She found me. She brought you back." Avery smiles for the first time in days, and Lucian feels something shift, a fracture, a healing, a brief hope that perhaps some debts have been paid. Weeks pass. Avery's life settles into the gentle rhythm of new beginnings, school, books, laughter that no longer hides behind fear. Isabel finds work in a small cafe, living under a new name. Lucian visits sometimes, never staying long, always wearing his rose tattoo beneath his shirt, now a promise realized rather than a threat. Marco retires, his part in old business finished, his loyalty unwavering until the end. Ramirez is promoted, her record unblemished, her determination to protect the innocent now legendary among her peers. Lucian remains in the city, his empire transformed by truth and consequences. He watches, sometimes from the distance, sometimes from the shadows, never interfering, never forgetting. Avery grows, her strength fueled by the trials she survived, the loneliness, the searching, the brief flash of terror in the warehouse, now just a memory. She keeps her rabbit, her mother, her hope. A rose tattoo binds them all. A symbol of loyalty, of the promise that the past can be survived, that even the darkest night cracks before dawn. And as New York wakes each morning, Avery walks to school beside Isabel, ready to meet whatever is waiting, with courage, with trust, and with a quiet, resilient love that cannot be erased.